Now, with an 11 breaking news alert. This is KKTV 11 News at 5:30.
Well, was that fun this afternoon? Man, I tell you what, it got with it. And by it, I'm talking about the wind, folks. We've been on 11 breaking weather alert now for the past 36 hours because of the event that was going to take place today. And boy, did it ever pan out. Triple-digit wind gusts here, Lamar, Manitou Springs, at the Air Force Academy. Even in Colorado Springs, we gusted to 92 miles per hour officially at the airport. But I know a lot of the city saw wind gusts well in excess of 75 miles per hour. All you have to do is look at the damage that we're going to show you here pretty shortly. Thankfully, the wind has calmed down, and right on schedule, it calmed down too. So we're still seeing some gusts between about 25 and 30 miles per hour, but nothing damaging. And I think the damaging wind gust threat has long since passed, and things are going to continue to calm down, not just for the Pikes Peak region, but also down here along Highway 50. Still pretty good gust right there, up around 60 near Colorado City, Rye, Beulah. You might see some stronger wind gusts this evening, but overall, things in a whole lot better shape than what they were. 41 degrees outside right now in Colorado Springs. This was not a warm wind, folks, and we told you it was going to be cold out there, and it is on the chilly side. Camera's still bouncing a bit here at Monument, and that'll continue to be the case at least for a little while longer. Temperature sitting at 32 degrees. Here's our storm system that blasted its way off the mountains today. Look at this thing wrap up across Kansas, Nebraska, and Iowa. That is a line of severe thunderstorms that has been producing straight line winds of 90 miles per hour and tornadoes from eastern Nebraska through western parts of Iowa. Folks, it's December, the mid part of December, and we have tornado watches in southeast Minnesota and Wisconsin tonight. That's the type of storm that we're dealing with right here. Overnight tonight, the wind relaxes pretty much for everybody. So thankfully, when we start off early tomorrow morning, the wind will be fairly tame. It will be clear and cold. And meteorologist Christina San Juan will be back with you in a little bit to tell you just what lies ahead for your Thursday. Guys?
All right, Brian, thank you. And you at home have been helping us tell this weather story all day. We have received dozens of photos from across southern Colorado. They show downed trees, broken fences, fierce wind whipping across the eastern plains, and parts of extreme southern Colorado.
We have a lot to get to this half hour. Let's begin with some of the damage in Colorado Springs. And this is what it looks like all across the city. Similar, tree after tree after tree down. It's going to take days to clean up all of this. 11 News reporter Julie Martin kicks off our coverage this evening. She's joining us live from the Old North End neighborhood. Julie, neighbors are helping each other clean up uprooted trees there.
Yeah, that's right, Adam and Lindsay. And you can see behind me a tree house is just hanging on by its limbs. That's part of the damage this backyard is seeing. More than 4 trees toppled over during that wind damage today. Tonight, neighbors tell me that they're all coming together to help each other clean up from this damage. Now, in this neighborhood alone, we've seen dozens of trees uprooted. They tell us that they've never seen or experienced winds like this. Now, many of those trees are on top of homes tonight, and many of those people in the homes watched as trees toppled over. One woman says driving through the neighborhood to her daughter's house was a mess.
And I came by this daughter's house, and you can see the whole fence is completely down. But as I was getting here, there was trees that were blocking Nevada. Wasatch, Tejon Street was a mess. I've just never ever seen anything like this before.
There are also downed power lines in this neighborhood. Earlier, I saw a transmission blow up in front of a home that started a small fire. Colorado Springs Fire responded and closed down a part of Wood Road. Many of these neighbors tonight tell me they are still without power. Now, these neighbors also tell me it could be days, possibly weeks to clean up damage such as this, but they all tell me that they're grateful that everyone is okay and that things like this can be replaced. Live in Colorado Springs, Julie Martin, KKTV 11 News.
That transmitter fire, one of about 650 calls that firefighters received just today. All right, Julie, thank you.
Several power outages have been reported today and are still ongoing. Colorado Springs Utility says that it's working to restore power to more than 19,000 customers, which is progress from earlier. They had about 34,000 customers without power earlier today. CSU says that crews are now able to work in the bucket trucks since the wind has died down a little bit. The agency, though, is warning everyone to stay away from down power lines. Assume they're live. CSU is also asking the public to report any down power lines on its website.
Let's now turn to 11 News reporter Megan Heiler. She's in studio covering the city's response to all of this. Megan, crews have been busy.
Yeah, that's right, Adam. According to the Colorado Springs Fire Department, they responded to 635 calls in just 5 hours. Here's some video right here on the screen of just some of the damage that crews were dealing with. According to the city, they've been dealing with not only those overturned semis and trees, but fires and even some hazmat situations. Right now, it's all hands on deck for first responders in the city and the county.
The lessons learned that we learned from 2017, we've certainly improved on during this event. So my hat's off to all our first responders. They were ready to go. Our preparation started yesterday and actually the day before. And so I would say very prepared for this.
And here are some of the numbers and websites that will be helpful. Only call 911 for emergencies. The CSPD line for non-emergencies is 444-7000. If you need help with a power line or a tree in a power line, like Adam said, do not go near it. Call 448-4800. If there is a tree down that is blocking a roadway, call City Forestry or CSPD. You can also report it online. For a faster response, you can make that report at citizenconnect.elpasoco.com. You can also call 211 for other emergencies. If there is no answer, leave a message. They will call you back. All of this information can be found on KKTV.com. Just click on that red Find It button. Back to you.
All right, Megan, thank you. Nonstop news at 5:30 continues with this. A lot of businesses are reporting damage from the wind today. We want to take you live to a business on the east side of Colorado Springs. Continuing our coverage now, 11 News anchor Ashley Franco is live at Officescapes near Nevada and Fillmore. Ashley, the roof was ripped off from that building.
Lindsay, you can see this roof here is ripped off, and here's just one of many pieces scattered throughout the parking lot here. Their roof is just lying on the side of the building. I spoke to the owner, who says it was so loud it sounded like she was surrounded by planes. When they came out of the building, they saw this and immediately told everyone to get out to be safe. Now, this building wasn't the only one that fell victim to the wind. The roof of the Colorado Springs Fire Department headquarters was torn off during the storm as well. I spoke to one of the women who was inside when that happened. She said she could hear the roof tearing off nail by nail. A woodworking business is almost non-existent because of the extensive damage done. The man working here tells us the wind just knocked everything out of place. Of course, this building we're at now, the owner says it was absolutely terrifying. Luckily, everyone was able to get out safely. The owner tells me there are holes in the ceiling, and when you're inside, you can see straight up to the sky. She says inside it is covered in dirt. Tomorrow starts cleanup for this business and many businesses across the city. For now, reporting live in Colorado Springs, I'm Ashley Franco, KKTV 11 News.
A lot of cleanup to be done. Ashley, thank you.
Wow. Police and firefighters have given the all clear at the Chapel Hills Mall on the north side of Colorado Springs. That mall was evacuated briefly this afternoon due to a gas line break. Crews were called to the mall just after 2. They had the gas turned off by 2:45. Officials say that was caused by a gas line on the roof of the mall being damaged by wind and debris, and then the entire shopping center reopened shortly after they fixed it.
We're staying on top of our 11 breaking weather alert. Flights are delayed or canceled in and out of airports across the state. Coming up on 11 News at 5:30, where things stand at DIA and the Colorado Springs Airport tonight.
Also, dozens of semis tipped over along I-25. We're going to take an up-close look at them. Did you see that? Wow. We'll show you where some of the worst traffic impacts happened. Welcome back. Happening right now, we're tracking traffic conditions on I-25, and we'll begin this segment with a live look in Monument. You can still see the traffic camera shaking around there. In fact, that may be the middle of Colorado Springs. I don't think that's as far north as we mentioned there. There were multiple semis overturned earlier along I-25 through the metro. I-25 southbound was actually shut down to large trucks for most of the afternoon to avoid more from overturning, and it was a good thing because there were quite a few.
Yeah, at least a dozen semis are toppled over across southern Colorado on I-25. Meteorologist Luke Victor has been tracking those conditions from our 11 breaking weather storm chaser today.
That's right. We want to turn to him live. He's got an update for us. Luke?
Yeah, guys, currently we're at the United States Air Force Academy overlook, the one on the southbound side of I-25, where you can see right here, right in the parking lot of the overlook, we have one of these overturned tractor trailers. And let me tell you what, guys, when we were coming up to this scene, we counted 9 of those overturned tractor trailers. And when I spoke with Colorado State Patrol when we were over here, they said 11 to 12 of these types of events occurred along I-25 in just El Paso County here across the area. Check out some of this video that we saw from our viewer This is a truck that tipped over. You can see just impressive wind gusts. And even though the trucks weren't even necessarily driving, even if they were just parked, those east to west crosswinds were enough to knock over even those vehicles that were still parked as well. We've also got some video that we shot from earlier today as well of some of the impressive scene that we saw along I-25 here over the past several hours. Now that we're kind of seeing day turn to night, you know, we're kind of now obscuring those views, and that may even kind of be a good thing, because what we were seeing before, especially during rush hour, was an accident that occurred, a crash. And you know, it might have been folks who weren't paying enough attention to the road because they're seeing all these trucks that are basically scattered along the I-25 corridor. It's something that we're going to have to monitor here as we get into the rest of this evening. But the latest I got from Corporal Zellman with Colorado State Patrol was that we're at least going to have to wait 24 hours for them to get the big machinery that'll come in and pick up these trucks that are basically littered along the I-25 corridor. Adam and Lindsay, back to you guys.
That makes sense. It is going to be a long cleanup effort. Meteorologist Luke Victor has been right on the on top of the overturned semis there, bringing us live pictures all afternoon. Luke, thanks.
Happening now, flights at both Denver International and the Colorado Springs airports are being affected by the wind. DIA is reporting that most departures and arrivals are seeing delays of about an hour on average, and more than 150 flights have been canceled today. Here in the Springs, mostly flights are seeing slight delays, but some have been pushed back several hours. According to FlightAware, 17 flights were canceled out of Colorado Springs Airport today. Both airports are encouraging travelers to check their flight status if they're traveling tonight.
Well, guys, thankfully all high wind and fire danger warnings have been allowed to expire. Things are finally starting to settle down across southern Colorado. How long it stays that way? Coming up after the break.
Now, with an 11 breaking weather alert and your certified most accurate forecast, here's meteorologist Christina San Juan.
Well, if you are without power this evening, I'd certainly recommend bundling up the best that you possibly can under these colder temperatures that we're going to be waking up to tomorrow morning. At least no teens around El Paso County, but you will drop to about 16 over in Teller County and across the eastern plains. One of the coolest spots of the Highway 50 corridor, looking like Eads, but also pretty chilly to say the least around Lamar, waking up at 16 degrees tomorrow morning and 18 in the morning around Springfield. The good news here, though, that I'm happy to share is that the afternoon looking quite nice, very calm, especially relatively speaking. I think we may have a little bit of a breeze to contend with, but it's not going to be anywhere near the 90 to 100 mile per hour winds that we had today across southern Colorado. More so just talking a little bit of a breeze, 20 to 25 mile per hour wind gusts at best. And temperatures not horrible, not exactly warm, but in the other upper 40s in Colorado Springs and around Pueblo. We're probably not quite going to make it to the 50s, but just shy of that 50-degree mark, at least around Pueblo County. If you're in Canyon City, probably just barely going to make it there. And across the eastern plains may have some warmer numbers, places like La Junta, and then stretching down to Trinidad, where temperatures going to actually get pretty close to the lower 60s. Everybody's staying dry, everybody's seeing the sunshine, and we continue on that track even as we head into the weekend. Again, this is a cooler pattern that we're in at least through Saturday, but Sunday I think is going to be a different story for us. We have 30s and 40s really across the board for the beginning of our weekend, but then by Sunday, everyone's looking at 40s and 50s with plenty of sunshine around. So that's going to be our turning point into even warmer weather. By Sunday, we're back to about seasonal temperatures, and then Monday even warmer from there, and looks like we continue that track at least through about Tuesday or Wednesday of this next week, depending on where you live in southern Colorado. But really, this is a very quiet looking forecast after a bit of a breeze tomorrow. 30s and 40s through the weekend, then climbing to the 50s Monday and Tuesday. And around Pueblo, kind of the same story. We'll have a cooler next couple of days, but it'll at least feel a little bit more like December. You climb back into the 60s, though, or close there too, on Tuesday and Wednesday, when I think you'll actually make it there. Canyon City and Woodland Park, 40s and 50s around for the next couple of days. Think you see 50s return in Canyon City on Sunday, and then warm from there to close to 60 degrees on Tuesday in Canyon City. We'll be back after the break.
Welcome back. Updates on our 11 breaking weather and news alert. You know, as we've been telling you, trees are an issue after this storm. One of them collapsed on a camper with a mom and a son inside.
11 News reporter Miranda Page is live there now near Fillmore and I-25. Miranda, the mom and son are okay.
Adam and Lindsay, they are okay, but it was definitely a scary scene out here at the mobile home park for all the neighbors today, and a big mess to clean up. Now, we have been pushed back a little ways because they are assessing some of that mess, the crews are, but you can see some of the destruction behind me. There's a swing set and the top was just torn off. But I do want to show you guys this video. It's of a camper that was crushed by a big pine tree, and you can see that the camper is folded in half and there's just debris everywhere. Now, the homeowner was grateful everyone was okay, including her dog and cats. But just listen to what she had to say.
Fear, because I used to live in Mississippi. I'm used to hurricanes, and it was like triggering PTSD for me, you know. It was a lot of trauma that came back, and my whole camper was shaking. I didn't know if it was just going to collapse.
Now, I did ask Patricia what's next, and she told me she doesn't know because the home is unlivable at this point, but she did say that she talked with some neighbors that offered for her to stay with them. Live in Colorado Springs, Miranda Page, KKTV 11 News.
We've seen that a lot, neighbors helping neighbors. Miranda, thank you.
I want to get to some pictures here, run through some of what you've been sending us. This one is a tree uprooted by the wind that ended up lifting an entire pickup truck with it. This happened near Union and Fillmore earlier today, one of the more remarkable photos of the day.
Yeah, a home under construction blew over at the Nook off of Mark Scheffel and Woodman. This picture was sent in by a viewer just showing how strong those wind gusts got here in the Springs today. There's a dumpster under part of that as well.
The 11 Breaking Weather team was telling us a wind gust reported at 107 miles per hour today in Lamar. This is video that one of the viewers that was in that area who's sitting in his office was taking through the office window. You can see just how bad it is, not only for visibility, but the dust and the wind whipping through that area. 107 mile per hour wind gust.
Yeah, and if you can send your pictures to our breaking news, or download our breaking news app, and you can send us your pictures through that app as well. You can stay in the loop with the latest news and weather conditions. All right, these high wind gusts can also lead to high fire danger. We've been telling you about this. We do have a crew at the scene of a fire in eastern Pueblo County right now.
Let's continue our coverage with 11 News reporter Jack Hakey. He's right in front of what we're seeing on our screen right now live. Jack, show us what's going on behind you there.
Yeah, Adam and Lindsay, I'm on 38th lane at what's being called a haystack fire. You can see it over my left shoulder. Pueblo County Rural Fire is in charge of the firefighting operation, but beyond that, information is limited at this point. The fire appears to be contained to one structure, but there are multiple homes close by, and firefighters seem to have set up a perimeter to protect those homes. We're going to go back to you live in Pueblo County. Jack Hakey, KKTV 11 News.
Up here, we're tight on time, but we will have more at KKTV.com.
We'll see you tonight at 10 o'clock.